Tear your ticket, take your seat. It's time for popcorn. Spoilers, ish. So, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Craig the Intern.
So, we, for a while, have done a show previously called Popcorn Spoilers, where we would sit down and bullshit and talk about movies and their reviews with Dylan. The show's sort of on semi-hiatus at this point, but we went and saw Deadpool 2, and I wanted to talk about it, and this is the perfect platform for it.
I got a semi on it just thinking about it right now.
That's true. You might have to get a little bit closer to your face.
Hello.
There you go. But, so kicking things off with Deadpool 2. God of Games 100 said, please don't tell they fucked up Juggernaut again, please.
No spoilers for the first half.
There were no spoilers straight away, but the answer is they didn't. Juggernaut's fucking fantastic in this.
That's kind of a spoiler.
What?
It was a surprise. If we didn't know for sure he was in there.
He clearly said he's in there. He's aware that he's in there. It's fine. But anyways, Deadpool 2, as the name suggests, takes place after the events of the original. No defined timeline.
Yeah, it had the impression it was maybe a couple of years.
Yeah,
maybe.
like a year-ish, because they talked about, or within the space of a year, because there's the anniversary between him and his partner, which is Vanessa.
Vanessa, yeah.
Vanessa?
You could almost believe it was the actual time between the movies.
Yeah, thank you guys. Dude, if you're yeah, look. Back to the spoilers for a second. If you're a Juggernaut fan, you're probably gonna get a kick out of this.
Yeah. Yes, you. Speaking as one, yes, you did.
But the events that caused this movie to happen. Oh, we're going into the exact events. So, in short, we meet a new character called Fire Fist or Russell. So Deadpool feels the need to save this boy from the what's it called?
I didn't catch the actual name of it.
Yeah,
but it's basically and a lot of this was in the previews as well. He's basically in an orphanage.
I guess it's almost like a sanitarium, I guess, but
kind of a combination between the two, really. An orphanage for mutants, if you will. And it basically, he obviously, and again, this is all in the preview. They goes down there to try and save him from a situation. There's a lot of cops around. Things are going bad, and Deadpool, for reasons that will become apparent by watching the movie, decides to make it his own personal project to save this kid. Yeah,
so he feels like compelled to do it. Any more than that, you're sort of jumping into major spoiler territory, which we'll get to. So God of Games, if you are still around when the spoilers comes, we'll have a deep dive. But if you have, by the looks of it, you may have not seen it yet, so you might want to stick away from those spoilers.
Deep dive, Juggernaut, spoiler there.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
But so this also brings in a bunch of different characters that we haven't seen before. So apart from Ryan Reynolds, who returns as the Merc the Mouth with Deadpool, we've got Vanessa returning. We've got T.J. Miller's character returning.
Yep.
The taxi driver, Rupinder?
Rupinder, yeah.
Rupinder, and you've got the Blind
Al.
Blind Al. Other than that, we see Cable with Josh Brolin. Mm-hmm. We see Domino. We see, and a bunch of other B-listers, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yep. No, B-listers, unless you're into X-Force, and I was a reader of X-Force comics as a kid, so I must admit I did squeal a little bit when I saw Shatterstar turning up. Shatterstar was... he was a regular for quite a while, actually, in the comics, and a few other characters who turned up in there as well. I'm just trying to remember. God, obviously, they were really memorable, but a few other B-listers as well. But Shatterstar was probably, out of a lot of them, the one I thought, oh, hello, what are they doing with this? Because there's a lot of backstory with him. They dealt with it rather well. Well,
let's dive into it as a whole. So we'll keep it at no spoilers. So, what did you think of the film? Because you just rewatched Deadpool 1 a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, literally 2 days before we went to see it. And in my opinion, if I had to just compare them without any sort of spoilers or any giving away anything from the movie, it was great. I loved Deadpool 2, and I'm quite happy to put it right up there in, not just Marvel movies, but the mutant movies especially. I don't think it had the impact of the first movie, and that's purely because it's the same thing that happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out, boom, it was something brand new. We'd never seen it. We came out of it starstruck. 2 came along. It was as good, but we didn't have that oh my god, this I've never seen this before, because we'd seen it 4 years ago. So, and I think every second movie is going to suffer from that. They can't all be Empire. They can't all be Godfather 2. The sequel's not always going to be better than the first one, as we've seen in a lot of cases. But just as a movie, fantastic. Loved it. In my humble opinion, of course.
Well, I'm sort of in the same vein. Like, I enjoyed it quite a lot. I thought it was quite fun. There's lots of good laughs, lots of good action. But I had the same thing. I left almost like not apathetic, but I left going like, oh yeah, that was all right, cool. I think once again the big novelty of what Deadpool was sort of, we got that with the first. Like, it's so new, it broke the mold. Probably a bit of an exaggeration, but it was
as far
so
as the other movies did it,
different compared to even any of the X-Men movies that we've seen, compared to any superhero movie we've seen up until this point. There was nothing quite like it.
Well, in that wasn't so much the movie. That was just them being true to the source material. Because Deadpool, the comic, is different to everything else that's out there.
Exactly, and like I think that's what made it. That was made it different. And that's what was really good about it. Yes, I still got lots of laughs. Still had lots of fun. Really liked the new characters that came in. We'll get to those in a minute as well.
Yeah, they had to gloss over a few things, and maybe some of them didn't quite get the depth of. They didn't really explore the characters as much as maybe they could have, for reasons that will become apparent. But Domino, I thought we didn't learn as much about her as we could have, but then I come into it knowing a lot already. Yeah. So for someone who's coming in brand new, like you weren't familiar with Domino before the movie.
Not at all.
Do you feel that you walked away with a sense of who the character is?
I do want to break down all the characters in a moment as well. But so I forget what my point was. Yeah, so like introducing those new characters wasn't good. It was fun. It was nice to, having a very limited understanding of what X-Force is and what that the bigger space is. Yeah, I enjoyed knowing that these are people from a bigger thing. Yeah. I thought that was really cool, because what I love about Marvel movies, and
Kerry's a fan of Ryan Reynolds. Absolutely.
We had a big discussion at work today about Ryan Reynolds and how he's so dreamy. I love about Marvel movies, I love about X-Men movies, because I don't know the source material that well. It's all brand new to me, and I really, really dig that. And yeah, this was more of the same, but I can't quite articulate my words without getting into the spoilery side of things. But one thing that I loved about the first movie, which was really unexpected, and it's just unexpected here, is actually how much heart is in this movie. Yeah,
it was in here. There certainly was an underlying story in this one. The first one at its core was a love story. This one,
a family movie, as they say.
Yeah, a family movie. The F word, as they refer to it as, the family movie, and that was at the core. Gotta Games wonders if this is leading up to an X-Men reboot. X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, look, X-Men was great when it came out. But again, they were limited in what people expected from a comic book movie back then.
The comic book movies back then couldn't be what they are now.
No, if X-Men came out with the same cast came out today, completely different movie. Yeah. Utterly different movie.
Yeah. I do have my own theory of what they're doing with the X-Men, which is a video I've already filmed, I've already done. I just haven't edited it, and I haven't put it up yet. I've been really lazy.
It's a kick-ass theory. I love it. Stay tuned for that one.
But yeah, so we'll dive into the characters now. We're hitting some mild spoilery things here in terms of how the characters are portrayed in the movie. But like Ryan Reynolds I think Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool are interchangeable at this point. They are literally the same person. I don't see them being...
There's not a big stretch between the two. No.
So as in, like, by him coming back, it's more of the same. It's great. More of the same in certainly the good way. He delivers lines like a champ. The timing is there. The comedic attributes are still there. I found, although I did get a lot of laughs here, I think I got different laughs in the first one.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the riffing off everybody was fantastic. And like you said, the timing was well. Him and Weasel, TJ Miller, are just always fantastic together. But instead of the oh my god, the laugh from the guts,
belly laughs,
the belly
yeah.
laughs. This was a more, I don't want to use the word generic, but you were laughing, but some of the jokes were just more rather than outrageous.
Yeah,
oh my
they
God,
weren't quite like
hystericus.
edgy is the wrong word. Like some of the jokes stayed safe.
Maybe
Well,
they might have played it a little more closer to mainstream. I mean,
Yeah.
there was still all the fourth wall breaks, still all the.
There is more references to other superhero material in this one that they poke fun at. That happens a lot more than compared to the first.
It was a little more specific to that.
Yeah.
'Cause before the first one was pop culture, just the brand. But this one was a little more specific to comics, Marvel, DC. Yeah, DC gets a mention as well.
Couple
of times. And I think very well done, actually. But I think in this particular case, it's almost like they were trying to give it some direction. The first movie was, here's Deadpool, and we'll just try as many shots as we can out in every direction and see what hits.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to go for a little more focus this time around.
Which you can tell in the story, which I'm fine with. I think it's really cool to sort of to tone that in and bring it in and sort of push it in that direction. Because if it was more of the sort of unbridled chaos of the first, that would overplay really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just made the same movie again, and people would have enjoyed it. But again, it would have lacked direction, and that probably would have been the end of it. If they'd just done the same movie again with some different characters, Deadpool 2 probably would have been the last we've seen of it.
Well, in terms of characters that are coming back, so as I mentioned, TJ Miller is back, who I'm a real big fan of. I think his comedic timing, the jokes that he uses, I think are really fantastic. And I don't think he was given as much in this compared to the first. Like, my favorite thing is where they're riffing across the table about what Deadpool's face looks like.
And there's a little throwback to that.
There's a little throwback to that, and like there's a couple little throwbacks to old jokes, but like it wasn't that free reign riffing. Like you can tell when they shot that, they did like 40 different versions of that. You can feel that in the room.
In the DVD release, you do get a lot of that in the deleted scenes, and I got a feeling we'll see a lot of TJ Miller stuff in the deleted scenes.
Well, especially with the controversies he's had recently, I reckon they probably dialed him back a little bit for that reason.
Possibly. That could have been part of the reason. I mean, editing, they always shoot more than they need. I'm looking forward to the deleted scenes.
Yeah, can't wait.
I reckon there'll be some interesting stuff in there.
Excuse me. But speaking of returning, you said Vanessa was Vanessa. It's just the love interest character.
Yep.
Not given a whole bunch of depth, but given enough to really help propel the story forward.
Well, I think they fleshed her character out beautifully in the first one. We didn't need a lot more depth for her. We knew who Vanessa was. There was enough there that she wasn't just the love interest. She wasn't just... you didn't just see her in her reflection on Deadpool. She was her own character.
Yeah, the character had grown a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but they did try to give all of the returning characters a little more depth. I mean, again, Colossus.
Yeah, speaking of Colossus, God of Games jumps in and goes, as a comparison, just look at Colossus from Deadpool compared to the X-Men Colossus. I was happy with the Deadpool version.
Colossus
on the point.
has been one of my favourite characters since the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that old. And I used to collect the X-Men comics back during the 80s run, and where Colossus was a huge part of the team. And that was Colossus. He was big, he was massive, he was very, very Russian. That's my Russian accent. Nailed it. I mean, I used to say Bolshemoy all the time as a kid because that's what Colossus said. I didn't even know what it meant. But Bolshemoy and all that sort of stuff and his Russian stuff. But he was a big, almost like brotherly aspect to it. He was the big brother to the team. And then along comes the X-Men movie, and here comes Colossus, and he's American, and he's a teenager. And I'm thinking, okay, the effect looked cool. That's not my Colossus. Deadpool, that was my Colossus. And they gave him a little bit more in this one. They gave him a little bit more. He certainly had his time to shine.
Oh yeah, they let him in the final act. He just goes great.
But again, even Negasonic Teenage Warhead, they fleshed her character out a bit more. She has there's a bit more revealed about her character. I mean, as a person, not just as a mutant. And I think they did. Everyone that came back didn't just come back and do the same jokes. They let him grow a little. They gave him some time. Yes, indeed, God of Games. I remember that one you're talking about.
What you mentioned?
Back in the old cartoons, in the old comic days, there was a fight between Colossus and Juggernaut, and it was epic.
Oh,
epic! Oh, I remember that very. There's probably a few of them. I remember black and white comics, Colossus and Juggernaut going toe to toe. Oh, good stuff.
Another character that's come back, as we mentioned, is the lovable taxi driver Rupinder. Who gets a big sort of character change. So rather than, this is not real spoilers, but rather than being just a taxi driver, he also wants to be an assassin for hire.
Wants to follow in Mr. Pool's footsteps.
Yeah, that in alone is really, really cool.
Well, he was already leading there because when he captured his rival,
Yeah.
for his lady friend in the first one, and in the back had him tied up in the boot, and yeah, so they could have just left him here as the taxi driver, but they didn't. They gave him a little more flavour, a little more character. Yeah, he was just the punchline to a few jokes in a lot of cases. Again, has his moment to shine. But yeah, I think they decided that they would allow the characters that came back to show more sides of them. And that's part of the writing team, although there was some lazy writing in there, as pointed out a couple of times.
But I think the fourth wall breaking and like acknowledging that it's lazy writing a fourth wall break does not excuse lazy writing.
No, it doesn't. And there wasn't. Having said that, there wasn't a lot of examples of that really. I think when they did it for comedic effect. But on the fourth wall breaks, I felt they toned them down a little bit this time.
Yeah, there was a lot less, I think.
There was less.
There's a lot of like jokes that you should know in terms of like references, but there's none of the looking down the barrel of the camera and like referencing something or saying something.
Yeah. I mean, he did it, and he did it well. Of course, that is Deadpool's shtick. But yeah, I think they decided to concentrate a little bit more on story, and a lot of people were worried about that. Some of the reading I've done, they were worried that they tone it down and try and go a little bit more. Let's get the story in this one. Let's go for, to focus on more mainstream stuff. We've got your attention with Deadpool 1. Now let's make a more mainstream movie. And I think they kept that in check.
Yeah, but I think they did sort of do some mainstreamy things. But speaking from the first one of the big things they mentioned at the end is like, oh yeah, the sequel's going to have Cable in it. Now I have no idea who Cable is. I know it's Josh Brolin, who's Thanos, so he's crossing the different worlds there.
When they did that end scene and he said we're going to have Cable in the next movie, I'm not going to lie, a little bit of wee came out. I was very excited. Deadpool, he does have healing powers, but they're more internal. Basically, it's the theory in the comics was his cancer is so bad it's having to fight so hard internally, it can't concentrate on the outside. That's why he looks so messed up. Was the theory. He's so messed up internally, and what he does to it, it's working so hard to keep that going. It hasn't got time to work on the outside. Which
that's something interesting they take into account with this as well. That they sort of look at his superpower and his healing and what that means.
Yes, exactly right. And what would happen if he didn't have those healing powers? So, minor spoilers there, but that does look into it.
But let's bring it back to Cable.
Let's bring it back to Cable. Okay.
How does it fit for you as a fan of X-Force? Did Josh Brolin bring it?
Josh Brolin was an excellent Cable. Again, Cable in the comics, and this was just an art style of the time. At times, he looked as big as Colossus, and you could have gone that way, but I think they went more for the feel of Cable in this one.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Josh Brolin is jacked.
Oh, he was absolutely, but in Cable's story, and this is a comic book thing, is immensely complex. He's crossed timelines. He's from the future. He goes back and forth all the time.
I just stubbed my toe real bad.
And there was a time where he actually had a comic with Deadpool. Deadpool and Cable had their own title for a while. But his story is immensely complex. I mean, Days of Future Past, that was actually Cable. So that X-Men Days of Future Past, if they were true to the original story, Cable should have been in that. So like I said, he's everywhere. And that's always the thing when you try and make a movie for 2 hours and get all these stories in, you've got to pick and choose. I think the way they went with him was the right way. They picked. They referred to his family in there, and you may not have picked it up when he named members of his family.
Hope.
Yeah, Hope. That they're right there, him and Hope. That's about 2 years of comics worth, right?
Because I remember the Hope being pretty prominent in the X-Men.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Because I think I read, was it Schism? This is a newer version.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there was a comic a couple of years ago called the X-Men Schism, I think, and they talk about like the end of mutants and this new mutant called Hope.
Well, yeah, because that was after to get really nerdy, the House of M.
Yeah.
Series, and that's when Scarlet Witch, who's currently in the Avengers, actually her mutant power affects probability in the comics. Basically said no more mutants and essentially removed the chance that people could become mutants, and they wiped out all but about 20 mutants. That was it. Everyone was gone, and that was a massive. It's a big move on Marvel's part, which the theory was done because of the whole fact that Marvel couldn't get the rights to the X-Men back, so they said, well, we're just going to write mutants out of our comics.
Correct, yeah.
And which was a shame, because, I mean, I was a mutant fan for years, but I understand why they did it. G'day, Paul. Sup?
Hey, Paul. Thanks for dropping by.
It was a move made at the higher level. And I think it did annoy a lot of people.
It was a big fuck you. It's like
it was, and to not just to Fox, but to the fans and the people who loved the X-Men franchise. Be it bad, I mean, your opinions of the movies, what you will, but it's. All I can say is now that the things have all merged back together again and been subsumed into the giant amoeba that is Disney, maybe they'll relax the reins a bit and things can sort of spread out again. But to bring it back to what you said, Hope was named that because she was the first mutant born after the House of M.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what I remember, yeah. Hey, and Alex is here. Hey, man.
As is Josh.
Oh, and Josh Anderson. Oh, man. Yes. I haven't seen that Josh Anderson in a very long time. Speaking of Josh Anderson, I heard that you have started your own podcast.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did start listening to it this morning.
I will have to check that. I did not know that.
It's called Foxhound Podcast.
Foxhound.
Named after the Metal Gear Solids. God of Games Josh shared the video via Twitter. Thanks, man. You're a bloody champion.
Yeah, cheers.
But yeah, so Cable is born Hope, so that's a very slight reference. But do you think he was handled well? Do you think they represented the source material in a good way?
They did it in a way that they didn't have to give you a lot of his background. We understood his motivation pretty quick.
Yeah, I feel that I got enough out of him to sort of know what his intentions were without really diving too much into it.
I mean, if there's a sequel, if he comes back in that, they'll delve into it more. They'll give you more background. I don't think we needed more in what we saw. There was enough there. We got his motivation. We are introduced to him briefly, fairly early, and again, the way they did it, they try and keep it a little bit vague for storytelling reasons, but then they come through and they basically quite succinctly say, this is where he's from, this is why he's here, this is what he wants to do, and we move on into Act 3, basically. So yeah, I think out of all the ways they could have gone with Cable, I mean, they could have changed his character, and they didn't. They could have changed his appearance or powers or general skill set. They didn't. They just basically kept a few things vague that didn't need to be explored in his first movie.
Very cool.
Although God of Games thinks they could have gone a bit better with Cable, it's a fine line to walk, fine cable to walk, if you will, because there's so much. It's like with any of the characters. When you look at Colossus, his storyline is amazingly diverse. I mean, in the comics, he got married to Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, who's one of the characters from the other movies. They were married for a while. Of course, Kitty Pryde also has a pet dragon called Lockheed, so there's a lot of depth there. All of the characters, you can't put all of the comics into the movies. It just can't be done. It turned into Lord of the Rings really quickly, where you were telling one story across 3 movies. It can't be done. So the skill is picking and choosing the right stuff and knowing what to omit. And I don't know, considering the way it could have gone, I'm happy with how Cable was in the movie.
What about Domino?
Domino, they went a different way. They tried, because Domino in the comics wears a mask 24/7, pretty much. You don't see her face a lot of the time. So again, they wanted people to come and see the actress. They picked the actress for a reason. I do forget her name, but it's pretty funky from memory. But yeah, she's very attractive. She had the sass of Domino. Domino and Deadpool in the comics got romantic there for a while. Future comics, maybe predictions there if you like. But yeah, the way they described her power was pretty much she's a skilled mercenary. She has skills, but she had the power as described.
The power of luck.
Yeah, without too many spoilers, it's pretty easy to find that one out. Yeah,
is that a comic thing? The power of luck?
Oh yeah, very much so. There was a few characters that could basically influence probability in their favour. Probably the biggest one was Longshot, from the same place that Shatterstar is from, in fact.
Okay.
And he, let me pick a random example. Fighting a giant robot that you've never seen before. And he had these little knife blades he used to throw. So he's thrown this blade up the giant robot. It's just gone pink and done nothing off the front. But that minute little scratch he did, later on, when something focused in on it, was enough of a weakness for them to get through. So he may not do something there, but what he does influences future events. And it is hard to make that a visual thing. I think they did all right with it.
Well, they make that joke, how do you visualize luck?
Yeah, it's not a superpower. Yes, it is. No, it isn't, which you saw in the trailers. And yeah, that's a very good point. How do you show luck? It's
I think they explained it. I think they showed it pretty well.
I think they did all right. I think they did enough of it to then there was basically a bit of exposition where they show it in action. So you get to the point where you go, all right, I get it now. So that explains when things are happening in the future, in future events, like in Act 3.
If things just happen.
If things happen, you go, I know what that was. So yeah, again, they were clever enough to go, here's some information, and trust that the audience was smart enough to pick it up and run with it. And that is a major skill that needs to be picked up by a lot of American movies. Trust that the audience knows what you're doing and can run with it. Don't sit there and labour it and explain and over-explain and show you again what's going on because you're playing to the lowest common denominator. Trust your audience. And if they don't get it, the person sitting next to them will explain it to them. That's what we're there for.
Now, the newest face, I believe, I don't know whether he's an old character or not, is the Russell, or was it called Fire Fist?
Fire Fist. I'm trying. I'm going to be honest. I didn't recognise him, and I'm wondering whether they might have combined a few characters, which they tend to from time to time. For example, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Those powers she has in the comics, in the movie, none of them. She's a telepath in their books, but they love the name, and I believe I was watching the commentary. They actually had to get permission from Marvel to say, look, we want to change her powers. They actually went to Marvel and says, is it okay if we do this? So they're aware of that. They're aware of, as God of Games says, he's a big fan of trying to keep the looks of the character and personality original, like the original. And yeah, that's great. You also have to make it so that they will gel, and it makes sense that they will do what they're doing.
Because on that side note, one of the biggest examples is Hawkeye and his purple outfit. Like, that wouldn't work. So that's where you sort of slightly have to adapt what you've got.
Or Steve Rogers, when he stopped being Captain America and went Nomad. Google Nomad costume.
It's not as cool as Captain America's right now.
Yeah, thank me later. So it is. I'd love it if they could make it. If they just went for the original looks, it'd pretty much just turn into a big nostalgia flick. For all the people who love the comics, oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Whereas all the people coming in new, it won't gel together as well as the story. So, like, for me, I get it. You might go straight over your head. You might not get what's going on.
I'm a DC kid.
Well, here's an example. Colossus, his little sister, is a mutant. Can do magical portals. Become the essentially lord of a demon realm and things like that, called magic, with a big magic demon slaying sword. How do you write that into it? Into that doesn't fit into the story, so they've got to ignore some stuff. CGI does indeed work well. It works well on this too.
Yeah, I'll jump in that. So, as in not having known a lot of these characters, it was pretty brand new to me. But like, I really liked how they handled Cable. I think Cable, they gave, like, although you never felt emotionally connected to his story, as in like, but they never tried to push that either. They were never like, you need to feel sympathy for this person because you understand his motivations for why he's doing what he's doing, but you never like get that heartfelt moment. You know what I mean? Like, which is good.
Yeah.
Because like every movie seems to have like, this is the bad guy. They're doing the bad things, so you need to, you know.
That was it. Yeah, pyrokinesis he had, so he could he could manipulate.
Which he does in this.
fire,
Which he does in this movie. So
yeah.
that pretty much just confirmed that that Russell is a comic character, which we weren't sure about. So they gave him enough to sort of relate to his story, understand where he's coming from, but not be like, oh, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, once you realise the connection to the thing he's carrying around with him, there's enough there for you to empathise. Maybe not to...
Yeah, empathise, not sympathise.
Yeah, exactly.
Domino...
I get it.
Domino was really cool. I liked her as a character. I think she had a good bit of sass, as you said. Sort of not to off-balance Deadpool, but not like to equal him either. There was a good bit of backwards and forwards. It was a nice sort of a nice thing. Russell, on the other hand, I thought was relatively good. I thought he was quite interesting. I haven't seen him there was another movie that he did with Sam Neill recently that was really quite well praised. I think the kid's got a lot of comedic timing, a lot of comedic skill. Like, I don't think he was fully fleshed out, but you can see the beginnings of someone that like gets it. He understands timing, he understands the joke. And it's just cool to see, you know, like a Kiwi kid come, you know, out of nowhere coming and doing this thing.
It was nice to hear the Kiwi accent in there, I must admit. For a second, I got a little excited. I thought they haven't put an Aussie in here.
No, I knew he was New Zealand, so I was like, yeah, all right, cool.
It was a shame, but he was still very, very good.
Yeah, and like you say, he's obviously being one of the big central points of the film itself. You get a lot more of his character, and you sort of get an understanding of where he's coming from and why he's doing what he is, why he wants to do what he wants to do.
You certainly get more of a chance to sympathise with him, though.
Yeah,
especially when you see his evolution. And I thought, I don't know, you could absolutely buy the way he was going and the way he was thinking and why he went the way he went. And yeah, so initially I thought, no, it seems a bit odd that he would go this way, and then they gave a bit of exposition. You go, no, that's perfectly normal. I get it. So the writing was good, although I'm trying to remember, they didn't have both of the same writers from the first one.
No.
But they wrote it enough. They obviously paid attention to the first one. They didn't try and write their own and make it their own. I thought Russell's character was a good foil when he was in there. A good foil to Deadpool. So that's probably the major.
It's sort of more of into more of the filmmaking side of things. The film was pretty visually stunning. Like, it was. You know, it was a lot of color. You know, not a lot of drabs. The action set pieces were pretty fantastic. I never really got sort of taken out of it, which is good. Yeah,
true. There was a couple of bits where you go, the CGI becomes a little glaringly obvious, but in the context of the movie, it worked, especially with a certain fourth wall breaks just before it happened. It was. You could see the evolution just in Colossus. You could see that 4 years he got better in this one as well. He looked a lot less like less shiny. He looked like he was actually in the room, more lived in. And I certainly got that sense of it. It's like with trying trying to think of another example. Any movie where you check the effects of one character from movie to movie, and you can see how much better they
like
get.
Gollum. Speaking of Lord, back to Lord of the Rings. Yeah,
Gollum just got so much better by the end. So yeah, I think the CGI, the effects were done well, but it's not just that, but the way they tell the story. It was a little more linear than the first one. I mean, the first one you had that action scene that basically came in and out throughout the entire first half, almost 2/3 of the movie, which basically came down to the fact they didn't have much money. They wanted to have a few action scenes in it, but they didn't have a lot of money to shoot this, so they split the one action scene they had up into those 3 sections. So, although it looks like it's great writing, it was influenced by the fact that they didn't have that much money.
See, this is one of the things people don't like when all these movies that get thrown millions of dollars at them. Like it's not money that creates great art; it's restriction.
Yeah, throwing money at stuff does not necessarily make a great movie. DC, anyone, but sorry,
that's fine. They make bad movies.
They do. No, I didn't know if they were going to do
that. Oh, sorry. God of Games asked, does it show Colossus transforming from human to Colossus?
I wondered if they do that this time, and they didn't. He stays Colossus the whole time. You don't see Piotr Rasputin, as his full name is. But actually, I don't know why, because it was... I mean, again, it's maybe a decision to make. He was a CG character, maybe...
Keep him that way.
Who would you cast as the human version of Colossus? Because, you had one bloke doing the mocap, another person doing his face, and another person doing his voice. Which one of them gets to be Colossus? So I get why they would keep it that way. It was always... Colossus wasn't in the comics, wasn't always metal. He turned that on. So if he was unconscious, that'd switch off. But again, that's as we said before, you can't have everything from the comics, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So they just elected to mean Colossus was a mutant, and his mutant power was he was metal.
So before we jump into the spoilers, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I thought the story made sense. It did set it up that if they want to go sequels, they can. I reckon there's a couple of ways they can go with it, but I mean, a lot of people thought this was just a set up for X-Force movies, and it could well be.
Oh, it could be.
It could well be. I don't know if we'll see a Deadpool 3. I don't know if there needs to be a Deadpool 3.
My concern would be the joke would run thin, but I'll get to that in my...
Yeah, I mean, picture it for a moment. X-Men's returned to the Marvel Universe. There's an X-Men movie. Next, and Deadpool just walks past a window or something like that and does his little quip. Deadpool works brilliantly when he just shows up, does the bit, and off he goes. And I think that's how he'll be used. He'll be a lot more sporadic in future movies, I think. That's just my thought. There could be Deadpool 7 in a few years. You never know.
If it makes money.
Well, we'll see how much it made. I mean, Deadpool, and this is referenced in the movie, came in just under Passion of the Christ for the money they made in America, and they beat it domestically, and that's a pretty high bar.
No, they beat it internationally.
Sorry?
They didn't beat it domestically, they beat it internationally.
Beat it internationally. The God of Games is chanting X-Men reboot, yeah. I reckon that's coming.
It
has to be. And they've got the intellectual property back, which means they've got X-Men, they've got Fantastic Four, they've got all their stuff back. The only thing they haven't got back yet is Hulk, I think.
That's Universal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll pay a pretty penny for to get back at some point.
Yeah, look, they're going to have a go. There'll be at least another X-Men reboot. Although, how do you replace Hugh Jackman?
He's
iconic. Do you just go a brand new team?
That's probably the best to go at.
But anyway.
Look, I did really enjoy it. I said I did feel coming out of it going, ugh. But I think that was because not in expectations. Like, I've not watched any of the trailers. I've watched nothing. It was just more of I wanted to go in and I knew I was going to enjoy it, and I did certainly enjoy it. I had a lot of good time, a lot of laughs, a lot of good explosions and good action set pieces. I really liked what they did with bringing in the new characters, like Cable, like Domino. Rhino, like Russell. I think they were great little touches. And even when they do create the X-Force, which we'll probably get to in spoilers, that was such a great, like, 10-minute bit, I guess. You know, I think, as I said, I think Ryan Reynolds really is, as I said, like, he is Deadpool. He does come to his own as Deadpool. This is almost like the performance he was born to make. I think that this is the movie this is the character that people will remember him by, because it is him.
Yeah, he's, and they put Wolverine Origins to rest. They put that to rest in this movie. I think. I mean, he's been wanting to play this since Blade Trinity.
Well, yeah, and he did, and then they fucked it, and now he's back and he made it better. So, like, in that way, looks like I really enjoyed where this.
You know, Dave. Yes, indeed, Peter, who is one of the X-Force characters.
We're about to jump in them spoilers, so get ready. But yeah, so I really like what they did with this. They said a lot more heart than expected. I never welled up, but I was kind of like, oh man, this.
Yeah, a few moments actually where they were unexpected. So there were surprises in it. It wasn't predictable. You are right. God against Wolverine was a little short ass. He was about 5'6", I think. He certainly wasn't 6'3", but again, you can't cut off his legs. Hugh Jackman was perfect. So
yeah, because like here at the Pop Culturist, we don't review score or anything, because we just think review scores are dumb. But we'll give you sort of what our thoughts. And I think, should you say it? Fuck yeah, you should say it. If you're a fan of Deadpool 1, you're gonna be a fan of Deadpool 2. It's more of the same in the good way.
Yeah, if you enjoyed the first one, definitely see the second one.
Hey, and Jess is here. She says, hey, yay, spoilers. Speaking of spoilers, we're about to dive into spoilers in the next, 10 seconds.
We are indeed. So brace yourself, Elsie, as my grandfather used to say to my nana. I'll tell you that story later. Yeah, we are going to get into spoilers in just a moment. So if you're watching now and you haven't seen it and you don't want to spoil anything, I turn the sound down pretty quickly.
All right, ready? 3,
2,
1.
Spoilers.
Holy fuck!
Fuck yeah! Oh my god, some of the moments in this were just spectacular.
There was some really cool shit in here. Like, okay, so the big story arc that we what I'm going to mention was within the first 15 minutes or so, Vanessa dies. She
off the bat.
Gets shot. Like, so they're at Deadpool's house and they get bombarded. They bombarded his apartment, I guess, because he just killed a bunch of Yakuza dudes.
He followed him back.
They basically followed him back. He takes them all out with a knife block. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was nice.
And then he leaves nothing but the cream cheese spreader. And a shot comes through, takes Vanessa out, and then that's fuck.
I'm not gonna lie, because this happened so early on. I thought, oh crap, they're just doing the old. Let's. He gets the girl on the end of the first one. Kill her in the first 5 minutes. Oh, now he wants revenge. And I thought they were going a bit more cliche, but they weren't. Because
the movie opens up with him lying on a bunch of barrels, opening the oven, gassing up the house, looking like he's ready to kill himself.
Yeah.
But into the Deadpool to the 10. You know what I mean?
It was. He certainly turned it to 11.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then they explain, well, this, 6 weeks earlier, I was international, I was in Japan, I was doing this, blah, blah, blah. So he comes home, does his thing, and there's a conversation which is very cliche with the idea of, we're going to, let's make a family, but in the fucking greatest way ever, rather than being like, I'm pregnant, or let's have a baby. It's here's my anniversary present to you. It's my
IUD.
My IUD. It's not in my body anymore. Let's make fucking babies.
Yeah. Put a baby in me, Rick.
Yeah, so she dies, and they use that as a sort of a key pull. So it does put Deadpool in his down and outs.
Yeah, although not the last you see of her, she does come back. In various moments,
come back,
which is nicely handled. I thought the way they did that.
After she does get taken down, the revenge pull.
Oh.
It's so nuts. Think John Wick, but with Deadpool. It's shot like like John Wick. It's rainy, it's dark, it's just the same sort of angles that the John Wick used, and it's just him legging ass after this dude.
I thought he was going to tear the guy right there, and Yeah, it was
He
beautiful.
did in a different way.
He did.
So like, after the confrontation, they're sitting in this intersection. He's got the guy. He's got him like by like the throat, almost by the shirt, and then instead of like punching his face out, he hugs him. And I'm like, because like, mind you, this whole time, Ryan Reynolds' face is just sorrow. Like there is so like, to his credit, there is just pain. There is anguish. You know what I mean?
And
like
that face, he can just emote through it. It was just beautiful.
Which is insane, because there's so much prosthetics on there. He has to push even harder to get that emotion across. And you know, I imagine, you know, using his own family as an example, like, you know, with Blake Lively and like their child, I imagine he's probably channeled a bit of that, because like you can see like real fucking pain. And then he hugs the guy out, and you're like, what the fuck? And then next thing you know, he turns around and gets fucking welled by a bus. Like
hugs him into a bus,
which is insane, because and that's because you would think the whole movie would be the way that scene sets up. You think that is going to be the plot. It's him taking out these people that took out his partner. You thought that's what it was going to be. It was going to go down that John Wick route, but it doesn't. That character's dead then and there. So like that entirely wraps that little like prologue up.
It wasn't the revenge arc. It was, what do I do now?
Like what I do after all this has gone down. You know, then he's sort of a bit down on his dumps. He's not really doing much. You know, he then blows himself up.
Tries to commit suicide in a very spectacular manner.
Yeah, in the truest Deadpool of fashions. Then Colossus rocks up, grabs him, takes him,
picks up all
his pieces, drags it in a duffel bag back to the Westchester in the X-Files,
the X-Mansion,
where they try to bring him back. Like they bring him into the X-Men.
Try to make him a unofficial X-Men. He gets a trainee X-Men shirt,
like a football jersey, almost
exactly what it looked like, a football jersey.
That was like a really cool sort of touch, because that brings in, once again, the bringing in the X-Men thing. There's a lot of jokes there of like, we're in the fucking X-Men house, and for some reason it's only just you and me. Where the fuck is everyone?
I laughed like a loon.
There's all these quips, and he's like, why the fuck can't the studio just give us a break? Give us some of the X-Men. Give us one of the X-Men. And then then the camera kind of cuts to the Yasara, and then there's Beast and like all the first class. You knew, and they're like, oh fuck, and they shut the door.
They sort of shoot it over his shoulder, and they're all going
like, he's sitting there ranting like, why won't they give us this? And then across the, he's like kind of like the Godfather 3, you know, Godfather 1. You know, as they shut the door, it's like.
It was a nice touch. I'm not sure if it was CGI, but I certainly reckon.
Even if it was CG, it was
looked
great.
like Kelsey Grammer's Beast. And
it's not Kelsey Grammer's Beast. It's the First Class.
Oh, First Class Beast.
Yeah, it's all the younger one. So that's the guy from
Quicksilver.
So it was the guy from like Skins and whatnot. That actor.
But yeah, basically it looked like the First Class mob just were in that room. They turned around. There's Deadpool walking past. Oh shit! Shut the door. It was just a very nicely done little.
Yeah, it was a really cool little touch into sort of, you know. Now they're like, because now Fox have faith in this brand. It's like, we'll put some stuff in there. We'll give them a little bit. Where else we want to go from there?
Well, that's when they were talking about the Colossus's big brother side. He was there. He was trying to. He wasn't just trying to make him join the X-Men. He was trying to save his friend.
Yeah, he was trying to bring him back.
It sounds a bit cliche, but it fits Colossus beautifully. And we also got to meet another member of the X-Force. I'm trying to remember what her name was, but they actually gave Negasonic a love interest. I'm trying to remember what her name was. It was
Yuki or something.
Yukio or something.
Yeah, Yukio. Yeah,
that became a running gag. Deadpool was always waving, "Hi, Yukio." Hi, Deadpool. Just became a bit of a running gag throughout the whole thing. And I do like that they didn't dwell on it. They didn't do the whole, and it's just a sign that movies are becoming a little better. They didn't overdo the fact that she had a girlfriend.
Yeah, it was really cool. So it's like, you have a girlfriend? And he's like, it's almost along the lines of like, it's 2018, fuck you. He's like, no, I don't give a shit, she's a woman.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised someone wanted to date you.
Yeah, he wasn't worried about it was a woman. It was just, someone loves you? Oh my God. And again, it wasn't referred to again. It was just accepted as fact. And I liked that little touch. That was nice. So that's the point. They're trying to get him into it, and then that's when
this is where we meet Russell. So after he's sworn in as an X, I almost said X-Files then, as an X-Men trainee.
Another running gag. Every time he says, "I'm in
this
the
is
X-Men."
their first job is to find Russell. He's out the front of this home, sort of like a sanitarium orphanage, where he's burns a bunch of fucking shit up. Their job is to get there and restrain this and get it sorted.
Yeah, and they rock up in the usual subtle way, the big Blackbird aeroplane.
Which I do like, kindly landed behind anything so they wouldn't have to CG it back in.
Yeah, it was nice.
It landed perfectly behind a bunch of trees.
And I think in this universe they were trying to make the X-Men a little more accepted, because the news people were there and said, "Oh, it looks like the X-Men have turned up and hopefully they'll be able to remedy the situation." So they were heroes in this, and that was an interesting way to take it. And as you can imagine, they all rock up and try and calm things down, and things go badly.
Yeah, Deadpool just fucks it and makes it worse.
He starts shooting people. But again, because he tries to connect with Russell, and this is something that happens because of...
So what? There's a moment when Deadpool dies earlier that he sort of goes into almost like a heaven, almost like a purgatory sort of thing,
almost, yeah.
Where he's in the room of his house and there's like a water wall between him and Vanessa, and he's like trying to communicate with her, and she just says your heart's in the wrong place.
Yeah,
sort of like I thought they were going to take that literal. How the fact that he's been exploded, I thought they'd be like his heart would be in his hip or something, and they're like, oh shit, and they have to put it back, and they someone's trying to rebuild him, and they're putting his parts in the wrong way. But I'm glad they went with more of like the metaphorical, your heart's in the wrong place.
So essentially, it was him trying to figure out what she meant by that, and that was your plot of the movie. Really, it was him trying to figure out what she meant. It was like she was trying to give him advice from beyond the grave. This is what you need to do to move on. And so he's trying to connect with Russell. He notices a few things, so he realizes that he's being abused in this place,
tortured,
abused, and Deadpool, being Deadpool, says, "No, so he's the guy who did it, right?"
Boom, just blow it like there's like is it the three guys over there? Cool, yeah, fuck, boom, like. And then Colossus comes in, fucks him up. He's like, you can't shoot people, whatever. This is where we get one of the sort of the big sort of devices in the movie, which is this collar that can isolate or subdue, nullify your powers. So by having the collar on, you instantly don't have your mutant abilities. So
switches off the mutant gene.
Yeah, so with Russell, obviously that turns off his fiery hands and his ability to sort of do the pyrokinetics, as a God of Games referred to it as. With Deadpool, it stops his healing. So he's just like fucking riddled with cancer at this point.
Yeah, so basically it turned on his cancer. Now he still looked like Deadpool because that was a result of damage that was done by the process. So he still looked like that. But boom, cancer started straight back. He was a mess.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, is that ready? Like, so they're implying that he could then die.
Yeah, because
like his powers are gone. He could die at any point, which is like something like in not so subtle foreshadowing. Yeah. That's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Then they get taken to the icebox, which is this big prison
in Antarctica or somewhere.
Yeah, some sort of northern or southern. I think northern hemisphere.
Oh yeah.
So this is where we meet Cable for the first time. Cable rocks up, fucks shit up because he's on the hunt for Russell. Yep. Turns out Russell in the future, after killing the guy that runs the headmaster of his little orphanage, gets a taste of blood and wants to fuck everyone up.
Yeah. So the basic plot was in the future he has killed. The implication is hundreds, if not thousands, of people amongst some Cable's family. And that's why Cable has come back to stop him, saying that once he kills his headmaster, that's when he gets a taste. So that's obviously the pivotal moment that we're heading towards.
It's one of those like what you would believe would be a set point in time.
Now, one bit I liked, and this happened all the way through it, there were a lot of little nods to essentially Easter eggs for X-Men fans to play along with. Like one of the main antagonists in the prison was a character called Black Tom Cassidy. Now, this particular character has been a foe of the X-Men for years. He often teamed up with Juggernaut. They were often together. But again, it was a nice touch it was like a nod to the fans to include them Although what they did with Black Tom was beautiful because, of course, he called himself Black Tom Cassidy. So for the rest of the movie, Deadpool refers to him as an African American.
He's a white dude.
Every time someone killed him, they're saying you're a racist. And come on, man.
I think he called him Black Tim at some point too. Just
Tim,
like getting it wrong.
Black Tim, black. I don't know. He was African American.
Yeah, like what's it's like? Okay, what's your superpower? Cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation. That's right. Yeah. So that was a nice little touch there. No, we didn't see Mr. Sinister. God of Games. That would have taken a whole nother movie to get into that storyline. Yeah, that's one of the huge big bads that the X-Men have had to deal with over the years. But
so while they're in this prison, like, you know, Russell's sort of along the lines of you need to befriend the biggest and bad, or take out the biggest and baddest person in prison to get your respect.
Russell
right?
was that was the whole thing. You find the biggest guy, take him down. Yeah, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you take him down, then you get your respect. So they're like, okay, cool. They're the biggest, baddest guys over there, and it's this big boom, boom, boom. You know, thing. Spoilers, Juggernaut. Yeah. But so you don't know that at the time.
Yeah, we don't know. It's a big area. It's walled off, and you just healthy amount of foreshadowing, as Deadpool says in one of his fourth wall breaks. But at this point, they do the whole Deadpool. Well, I don't have any powers. I can't help you. Go find someone else. And Russell turns to try and find somebody else better. G'day, Chris. Chris is joining us.
Hey, Chris Conway. I'm very well, sir. How are you?
If you just joined us, Chris, we are deep into spoiler territory for Deadpool 2, so just brace yourself if you haven't seen it. Yeah, well, that's right. God of Games. Cable is also a big part of the Sentinels.
He says all this leads up to the Sentinels. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So which they technically have done already in the X-Men. So I don't know if we'll see that again. So Russell's now on his path to the dark side,
essentially shit goes down in the prison. Cable rocks up, causes a bunch of fucking havoc because he's just trying to kill Russell. Yeah. That's what his goal is, to take him out. But at the time you're led to believe he's going after Deadpool.
Yeah, it wasn't until this point that you realise he's there to kill Russell. So the whole time we thought he was there for
and then in the confrontation.
As Dave said there, he keeps referring to his prison wallet, i.e. hiding things up your butt. And that was...
rummaging around the prison wallet was... Like, the rummaging is a very visual word.
It was... become quite the running gag there for a while as well.
Yeah, so then with the confrontation between Cable and Deadpool, they both get out of the prison. Russell's left behind. Deadpool gets back and realizes, no, I need to get the boy. The boy was what Vanessa meant.
That's when he makes the connection.
That's when he makes the connection. So as he's talking to TJ Miller, he's like, I need to create my own team. I fucking love TJ Miller. He's like, all right, cool. Like, I know some people, like, I'll pull up LinkedIn. We'll get something.
Time to get back onto LinkedIn.
Yeah. Like, what? So he jumps into... they bring in what would then become the X-Force. So we get Terry Crews as the Vanquisher.
Yeah, we're about to come to that, Josh. The
X-Force, parachute. Josh Hansen, give me 2 seconds on that one.
We're building
Cable's gun shoots me in the props department, dropped the ball.
Cable, he wasn't always about the weapons, but he always had a
big fuck-off gun.
He always had a BFG, and it was always something spectacular. And I don't know. I think they were trying to imply that he built a gun. He used a bit of future tech, but he got existing technology and built. That's why it had a dial on the side and stuff.
Which is the guitar.
He essentially built a new, built a new gun out of it. So, I mean, they could have just said, "Oh, here he is, and here's his gun." But I don't know. They tried to give you an idea that he was, it was a bit of a Terminator feel.
Yeah, really. It's a bit Terminator, sort of with implications of like the future tech. They're implying this is not a regular gun. Is what they're doing. Yeah, they're dicking around.
And
with.
It wasn't. You could see it had to. When he dialed it right up, it had to. It was enough to nudge Juggernaut. So it's a KISS Vector with op shop junk on it, says Chris. I don't know what a KISS Vector is. Is that a guitar?
Sure.
Okay.
What I really dug. Yeah, so then when we go to the X-Force, we see Terry Crews, who for some reason has never been in a superhero movie until now.
Yeah, I know. What
I'm very
the hell?
happy to see that. He's the Vanquisher. He's like, so what's your power? He's like, I can disrupt electric fields.
Yeah, electric fields, including the ones in your brain that make you feel happy or sad. I can't remember the gag they meant, but they did at the time. But yeah, it was just and Bedlam, I think he was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Bedlam. It was Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist was the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said, so what? You can put your finger on the pulse of.
Yeah, you know what the current pop culture is. He's like, no, I spew acid from my past. He's like, yeah, you're in.
Yeah, you're in.
and then Vanquish, because what Vanisher. So what I love is they had like a poster with like their resume. Like Vanquish had the picture is fucking blank.
Yeah, they held up the 8x10 to have a look at the picture and then talk to the next person.
And it's like Vanquish, and it's an empty room. It's like, okay, what? Is he here? It's like, no, I think he's late. I think he's running late.
They hold up the picture, and it's just a blank picture. So he's the Vanisher, and they're having a conversation, and then he's not here, is he? No, I think he's running late. So cut to the next one.
Beautiful, which is, I want to say Starscream, but it's not Starscream.
Shatterstar.
Shatterstar.
And so Shatterstar rocks up, and where are you from? I'm from the planet Mojo World. There's another whole movie if you want to get into that. That's Longshot I referred to earlier.
See, I thought Mojo was the name of the Green Lantern ball planet.
No, that's Ego. No, not Ego. I forget his name now.
Pretty sure it is Mojo.
Someone in chat will put it up there in a moment. It's not Mojo. No, the Green Lantern planet, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not their homeworld, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's Oa. They're from Oa.
From Oa.
There's a planet that is literally a Green Lantern. It's a big giant fucking ball in space.
It's not Mojo. Mojo was a big villain in the 80s and 90s for the X-Men. Essentially, he controlled his world through media. Pretty much, it was a parody of current sort of the world is controlled by the media sort of feels, and his mission was to have the best entertainment so people would all watch his shows, and he used to always try to get the X-Men involved. And Longshot and Shatterstar were both from that world. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like I said, they could make a whole other series of movies just about that.
Oh, and this guy's like, I'm from another planet, so I'm instantly fucking better than you.
Yeah, he said, "What's your power? I'm basically better at you than everything, at everything." And they went, "Okay." So so they didn't really.
And then Domino, of course.
And Domino was the next one.
And then Peter.
Peter rocks up. They said, "What's your superpower?" And well, I don't really have one. I just I
applied because
I saw the ad. You're in.
So then they're in like what would be in.
Oh look, Jess is on it. Yes, they did. She remembers Mojo in the X-Men animated series. There was a few. There was a story arc about that.
But there's also Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff
Mojo Jojo. I love Mojo Jojo.
So then they go on to their first mission, which is to get the convoy. This is where I probably got the most like belly laughs.
Yeah,
because it's just
at this point,
dumb.
because of all the damage at the icebox, they're shipping him off to a new location.
Yeah,
and a big, massive armored truck convoy. So this is where the parachute scene comes in. How they're all in the plane. Beautiful part where he's trying to talk it up. They're all sitting there in the plane, and there's one spot where there's just a parachute floating there.
Like such a simple gag, and I'm fucking wet myself
because it's just floating there. Because that's the Vanisher. You don't see him. There's just a parachute sitting there,
and like it's such a simple visual gag. Oh yeah, so Josh is pretty much nailed it. He's like, oh my god, Terry Crews in there, and then 5 minutes later he's dead. So spoilers, we're already there. As they jump out of this, there's a lot of talk about a lot of headwind, and he's like, fuck it. The Deadpool's like, fuck it, headwind, we got this.
Yeah, we got this. Let's do it. Big speech. Here we go.
And
AC/DC kicks off.
Yeah,
throwback to Iron Man, I think. Yeah, as they jump out, Thunderstruck starts. Boom, out they go.
And they're all like diving, and it's all well and cool.
Paul looks fantastic, mustache flapping in the wind. And
then the second, Peter looked fucking like majestic.
Majestic, yes.
So as they pull all their chutes, the wind obviously fucks them over and takes them in a bunch of different directions.
So at one point, Deadpool looks up, and one of them is doing this through the air. So I think it starts with Terry Crews. He comes down to. He comes
a little bit off, hits straight into the front of a bus. Yeah. So he gets like breaks through the window dead.
Yep.
Then we've got Zeitgeist falls into a wood chipper.
Lands in a wood chipper. And then the Vanisher. The Vanisher.
The Vanisher
gets an empty parachute come down into the power lines.
Which is okay. Side note, so after them sitting in the plane, like, and you see the parachute just there, like, as they're doing the shot as they're jumping out of the plane, and everyone's getting their own, like, superhero shot of them, like, flying in the wind, and then it's a fucking bag.
It's just floating down.
It's so dumb. If I read that in a script, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. It's amazing. And then
works so
it's such a simple visual gag, and it's like, it's so old school, it's beautiful. It's absolutely fucking beautiful. I laughed, like, I chuckled about 20 minutes.
Every time he would come back to the Vanisher, he's doing this sort of stuff. It was awesome.
But even later, I was like, So at this point, the Vanisher comes down and he gets fucking hit by falls into power lines. Get the reveal that the Vanisher is Brad Pitt.
Yeah, zap, zap, zap. All of a sudden, you can see him up close. Brad Pitt dies. And then Peter lands beautifully. Lands fantastically. Lands and then goes to oh my God, he's in the wood chipper. Goes to pull him out. I'll save you, sort of thing. And then all of a sudden he starts vomiting bile, radioactive bile or whatever it was over him.
Burns off Peter's arm.
And comes off. Peter's dying on the ground.
And of course, Domino with her luck finds the convoy.
Yeah, Domino just basically cuts the cords on the parachute and just basically falls through the top of the convoy into the passenger seat. Boom, comfortably. And that's where they start to show her... Actually, no, she did land, and then she was just running through traffic, and that's where they showed her luck working.
So all the cars seemed to miss her. Everything seemed to scoot off to the
so
sides.
A car would be coming, and something else would deflect it at the last minute, and I think that whole part was in slow motion, a very dramatic part, but it did show the luck power working very well, I think. So so now X-Force is down to 2.
Domino and Deadpool. And I love it's like, okay, how's everyone else? Oh, they're dead. Yeah, they're so dead.
And
I think it was like, Peter was a bummer, but that's Starstreak. What a dick.
What do you call him? Sugar Bear. Oh, sorry, Shatterstar coming down in for a landing.
His hair is caught in like his face because he
can't see.
Yeah, and then he lands in a helicopter blade.
Boom, green goo everywhere.
Fucking fantastic.
Yes, there's one thing you're not better than me at.
So they get the convoy. They eventually end up breaking the convoy, and this is where we see Juggernaut. So they do the reveal. They break it open. Out comes Juggernaut in full blown, as I know it, comic Juggernaut. Big fucking metal dome. Just a hulking dude.
Now, we all remember Juggernaut from the X-Men movie. I'm fucking Juggernaut, bitch. Anyway, enough about that. This was Juggernaut. He had the great big dome helmet. He was massively huge, bigger than Colossus, as he should have been. Juggernaut was a massive unit in the comics. Yes, Jess, it's the good Juggernaut. Yes, it is. I was very happy when that happened.
Because he's inside of his own like little like box.
No, not Vinnie Jones.
No, not Vinnie Jones. No.
So Vinnie Jones, I love him. No.
So like when the box opens and you see that big dome, I'm like, get the fuck out, it's Juggernaut.
Yeah, I started to suspect, but then because there is a couple of moments when Russell starts to talk to him, I thought maybe they'll go that way. And it was.
See, I had no idea who it was going to be, so I was really happy when
it was. It was CGI basically. It was. They couldn't do it with an actor. It was CGI, which led to another great moment in the third act, which we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, Juggernaut basically just punches the ground. The universe ripples as he does it. It was handled very, very well, I think.
And what was super cool is Deadpool arrives, he's like, holy fuck, it's the Juggernaut. Oh my god, I'm such a huge fan. X-Men 411, X-Men blah, blah, blah. Oh man, it's such a pleasure. Don't take this the wrong way. Such a pleasure to meet. He's like, I'm going to rip you in half right now. Oh, what?
That's such a Juggernaut thing to say. And then he does. He literally rips Deadpool in half.
What was it? So Jess, Chris says, I liked the Vinnie Jones Juggernaut. And Jess also adds, oh, that's a little disappointing. They couldn't use a real actor. I think it's just for the physicality. I don't think...
to give him the scope he needed, I don't think they could have pulled it off with a real actor.
Yeah, like it wouldn't have worked. It would have looked like Peter Dinklage in Thor Ragnarok. It would just seem out of place.
Sorry, in Infinity War. Infinity War, not Ragnarok.
Sorry, Infinity War. Yes, my apologies.
Name of the show.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool, and plus because he's kind of visually his face is kind of covered, you never really got that.
The character in the comics was bigger than a human. He was
a beast,
giant size,
huge dude.
Yeah, Vinnie Jones is a big unit, but he is human sized. There's no way they could have done it, Josh. So I think it was done well enough that they could have. Oh, now Jesse suggests they could have used the mountain. Yeah, well...
Oh, Bjork and Björnsnäschen.
Damn, that could have worked.
But this guy's bigger than him.
He was bigger than the mountain, but literally like broader, not just taller, but broader in all senses.
Just a literal big dude.
Like his hand would be literally, that wide.
Like think the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't do the Hulk. The mountain is big. If you painted him green, he looked.
You
like
get Lou Ferrigno, yeah.
Yeah, you get Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, that's right.
So that was really cool. So this is where they rip him apart, and we see Deadpool once again having to regrow limbs.
Do you remember Baby Hand?
I think Baby Legs. So take it for a whole new place. So he's back with Blind Al, and he's regrowing his legs. So he has this. He has these baby like the same legs as my son. My 2-year-old son. It's hysterical.
So you don't see it at first. They do the little bit with he's sitting there leaning against Al like he was in the first one, and Al goes to pat him on the leg, and he goes, and basically does a little throwback to did you get your leg cut off? And that's not my leg. And then it cuts to it. So he's there in his Hawaiian shirt, and there's literally baby legs sticking out the bottom of it. But he's also not wearing pants, which comes into it as well.
So everyone then in the room are like, "Oh, what the fuck? Where's your pants? Where's your pants?" Like they're looking at this baby dick.
Yeah.
And
what did TJ?
So your TJ Miller rocks him. Was like, "Oh man, I can't believe your shirt cocking it," which is just obviously his shirt, no bottoms, which is an expression I've never heard in my life.
Never heard shirt cocking before.
I nearly died again. Like shirt cocking it.
And
what?
There is a moment. There is a basic
instinct
where we do see a little Deadpool wang. We did see Deadpool wang in the first one.
Yep.
But this is going to stay with you for a while, folks. I think this one. And then, they're all going through and doing their bit, catching up. Deadpool, and then Cable rocks up. So Cable finds them. But this is the part where
I'm here for a proposition.
They all do their jokes, and basically this is where you get to learn a bit more about Cable, get to understand why he's there. We've got a band together, blah blah blah. Then Deadpool says, basically stands up to shake his hand. So picture it: Deadpool to the waist, baby legs, standing up, trying to shake someone's hand.
Big old baby butt in the back.
Big old baby butt. You get to see that from the back as well. I'm sorry.
And that bit was... TJ Miller's like, he's doing it. He's walking. He's just walking and shirt cocking it.
Walking and shirt cocking it. So, they do the little throwback to the first one, but they do take it to the next level. That was nicely done. The basic instinct bit. Absolutely, David. That bit was fantastic.
How is Brolin as Cable? Brolin was fantastic.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Inspired choice. There were other ones that maybe would have looked more like him. I know, I always forget his name, but the guy from that show with that fella in it. Oh, damn, it's all blanked out. Help me out here, chat.
What's the show about?
He was in a show where they'd all gone through a portal back into prehistoric time, and he was like the
Terra Firma.
Terra Firma, yeah. And he was the security, head of security or something with the white hair. If you see a picture of him, you'll know exactly.
Yeah, like I know that guy. Yeah, but I think Brolin was a better choice.
Terra Nova. That's it. Terra Nova. Thank you.
Hey, Sarah's here too. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. So the guy from Terra Nova, who visually in the face dead set looked like Cable, as absolutely how I remembered him. I would have thought of him. But Brolin acted like Cable. Definitely made me think he was Cable. He definitely got that feel from him, that vibe. So I know there was a few other people doing it. The Deadpool, the Hellboy actor. I can't think of names tonight.
Oh, Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman was going to put his hand up at one point. But no, I absolutely think they made the right choice. Absolutely made the right choice with Brolin.
And Dave agrees. Brolin does such good work.
Yes, but it's just incredible timing that in the space of a month and a half, we've had Brolin as Thanos and now Brolin as Cable, two massively iconic characters. He's riding high at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing real good.
Now, if he can just turn out to be Darkseid in the DC universe, he's got the whole Trinity.
Shit! Yeah. Fuck.
Pierce Bronson was slated for Cable at one point. Says,
Get the fuck out, Jess.
No.
Get the fuck out. That's an interesting choice right there. But yeah, so from then on,
I can't see it.
Yeah, me either. From here, they then go. They're then chasing down Russell. They go back to the orphanage.
Yeah.
And this is where the big sort of final showdown kicks in.
The third act.
Yeah, this is what though. So you see Juggernaut, you see Colossus, you see him beat on each other.
Oh yeah,
that was a fight.
What was it? They're about to run into it. Fourth wall break. CGI fight, and it was epic. Oh yeah, it's exactly what you'd hoped. My inner nerd at one point was going, well, actually, Colossus isn't actually as strong as Juggernaut, but I kept him in check. I kept him back. I said, this is the movie, shut up and enjoy it, and I did.
There are a lot of good references here. So, like, Deadpool tries to take on Juggernaut. He's got these swords into his helmet, trying to take the helmet off so they can sort of get to his face.
Yeah.
And they're dropping lines like, they're doing the Hulk line from Avengers, like, the sun's going down, big boy.
Sun's getting real low.
Yeah.
And so obviously Deadpool totally outmatched. So every hero found their own level of fight in this one.
So he gets thrown out and then falls onto like a stake, a little fence.
Oh yeah, he gets his head punctured again through a picket fence, and that was that's actually no, that happened first when he was trying to fight him, and that's when Colossus comes up.
Yeah,
because at one point they were trying to recruit Colossus back into the fight. And his little throwback to John Cusack with the boombox. He's there with the phone holding it over his head.
With not a phone with a case on it.
With the boombox on the picture, trying to convince Colossus to come and help them. And, of course, that's when he rocks up and he picks him up and there's...
Like bodyguard.
Oh, just a beautiful moment. And that's when the fight happened. So at this point, Deadpool and Cable split off. They try and find Russell. And we get a quick little bit of background on Domino. Turns out this place was where she grew up, so she'd also been through exactly what Russell had been through in this same place. So she had a personal stake in it and went on her own little mission to rescue a lot of the orphans. Again, a lot of times where you're seeing her power kick in. So just like at one point she says, how might I get all these orphans out of here? I could use a bus. Next thing you know, a bus comes in through the window.
Yeah, so Juggernaut throws a bus through the window. Yeah,
Sarah, this is so spoilers at this point. If you haven't seen, have you not seen the first Deadpool?
If you haven't seen the first one, you should probably go see the first one. The first one's like fantastic.
Yeah, that would probably make a lot of this make a lot more sense.
But yeah, so like we are sort of heading to the wrap up point at this moment. So there's a fight, like the whole deal was, Cable would give Deadpool 30 seconds to bring him over the good side.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
He wouldn't kill him.
I'm going to kill him, but Deadpool said, "Give me 30 seconds." Because he hasn't killed him yet, perhaps I can save him.
Like he tries to, so Deadpool tries to think he's got him. He's hugged him, and he's like, "I shouldn't have left you there, man." And then he just fucking burns him. And this is where we get a really cool nod. So it's something that I picked up once again, not knowing the Deadpool lore, just knowing how he looks. Like I'm positive there was a time when he was in X-Force where he was a black suit with the red eyes.
Absolutely, as part of X-Force, when he was in the X-Force comics, his costume was black and grey. And at one point he gets burned by Russell, so he charged the whole suit, and he's absolutely makes the suit look like the X-Force suit. So that was a great little Easter egg for a lot of the fans. I love that part.
Well, I know because community member Ben Baird had it on his desk.
Yep.
Josh, I'm going to go set up some stuff for the Foxhound podcast. Oh, I lost it.
Yep. He just basically said have
Oh,
fun.
there it is. I'm going to go to the Fox podcast. I was fun hanging out and talking about Deadpool 2. Love the movie. It was very good to see you again, Josh Anderson. I certainly do miss you very much.
Yeah, that's his new podcast, and I'm sure it's excellent.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I listened to it on the drive to work this morning.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah, you must, and then post a review. We want to hear.
Yeah,
what
then
you think of it.
they jump into the PopC community page and let us know what you thought.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
What else? So yeah, then eventually, 30 seconds is up. For some reason, Deadpool has the chain thing around his neck. Brolin shoots him, shoots Deadpool.
Oh, that's he tried to say because he got hit the first time. Of course, he survived. So he said, "This is the only way I'm going to prove it to you." Put it around his neck. He said, "Okay, if you burn me again, I'm going to die." Tried to get through to him. So he's put the nullifier on himself again. Cue to the point. Well, the 30 seconds is up. Slow motion run for the gun. One bullet left in it. Cable's made a dive for the gun. He's gone to shoot Russell. Deadpool's dived in front. Boom, takes a shot with the collar on. He's going to die.
After about 4 different...
Cue the best death scene ever. It just goes on and on and on. He just almost dies and then almost dies. Yeah, but that's the thing. He's got it on. He's going to die. And then after a long time, he does.
Yeah, and then he gets to his purgatory little with area with Vanessa, and he goes through and he sits with her and he talks to her, which is a really nice heartfelt moment. And what was really rad is when he crossed that water wall into the other side, he's regular Ryan Reynolds. Like the burns are gone because he's dead.
Yeah,
he's
we
done.
do get to
He's
see
at
regular
peace.
Ryan again, ladies, and well, let's be honest,
And
guys.
men, yeah. Yes, we can see that, but then it's that whole like it's not your time.
Yeah, so the whole you're not ready yet. It's not ready. Not time for you yet. I'll be here waiting for you, but you've got to go back. Cut back to a nice little bit. Now, at this point, Cable has told us that
He has 2 jumps. He has
2 jumps.
One to get
come
there,
here.
one to get home.
Body slide, they used to call it. That was the name of his teleporter. He could slide here once, and he had enough to get back. The further he goes, the more inaccurate it got. So he had basically, it was a one-shot deal. And then, now that they've...
Thanks, God of Games.
Oh, cheers, man. So now that they've... he's died, and he's restored the future. So Cable, there's a moment where Cable realizes that his daughter has been saved because of the
actions.
What he's carrying changes, so he knows that the future's been saved. His family is safe. But he elects, obviously, in the change of heart, rather than go home, jumps back just at the start of the fight and slides a little bit of metal just into Deadpool's costume while he's not looking, right where the bullet's about to go. Fast forward, literally the word fast forward appears in the top corner. That was a nice touch. And boom, he saves him. And he says basically, maybe I'll stick around. It'll throw to the future.
What I loved was just like the conversation from Deadpool. He's like, "Oh my God, you saved me! you did it! You fucked with time for me." He's like, "No, I didn't do it for you." He's like, "No, but you did it for me." I was like, "I didn't do it for you." It's like, I'll flip the coin. I'm going to look at it because I only did it for me.
Yeah, I'll flip the coin. Heads, you did it for me. Tails, you did it for me. Ting, I'm going to look at it. You did it for me.
Like
it was just beautiful.
Pretty solid delivery. And and then that sort of ends with them walking away, and that piece of shit guy that was supposed to be killed by Russell wasn't. He was there being a piece of shit. Next thing, Rapinda comes fucking out of nowhere in his taxi and just fucks that dude up.
Flattens him. And the Deadpool even says, I heard you coming for the last 30 seconds. I couldn't even keep a straight face. It was just really done well. We've got a newbie subject in my
Dave Chataway.
Dave, just in case, we are deep in spoilers territory right now.
But anyway, like you said, that's pretty much that, and then that's the end. That's credits.
So it cuts to credits. Cue, I'm going to say, one of my favourite after credit scenes ever.
Oh, yeah. So this is where Deadpool gives the body slider to Megasonic Teenage Warhead to fix.
And Yukio.
And they fix it.
So they fix it, hand it back.
And they're like, yeah, this is a really fucking bad idea, right? Like, yeah, it's real bad. And then he proceeds to go back in time and change the course of time.
So the first thing he does, he runs back in time, saves Vanessa.
Yeah.
So ends up saving Vanessa, and he says something there at that point. I can't remember exactly what it is, but essentially, and then you think, all right, he's gone back and saved Vanessa. All right,
I know what Cher feels like, because like the whole time Turn Back Time's playing. Yeah. It's like
we're definitely calling our kid Cher.
Oh yeah, because they have a debate about he wants to name a child like he wants to name if they have a child they want to give it someone with one name like Cher or Todd.
And then he puts something to rest, which has been plaguing him.
Yes, then they literally cut to the scene from X-Men Origins where Wolverine's there, Deadpool's at the door, and his fucking mouth is like, "Hey man, they finally shut you up." Next thing,
Stryker found a way to shut you up, and it cuts back to the door, and there he is, and then a gun goes from the side, drops him. Deadpool walks in.
Hey man, so I'm just tying up loose ends.
Tidying up the timelines. Bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
Just empties the clip. Whoosh, up he goes. Next thing you know, cuts to another scene, and there's a script.
Oh yeah, so it's Ryan Reynolds sitting at a table. He's like, and it's done. Cut it over the shoulder, and it's him holding a Green Land script. Next thing, and then his fucking brain blows out.
Blood appears all over it, and there he's just smiling with a big bullet hole in his head.
So that's for you guys.
You're welcome, Canada.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, but yeah, like there's a lot. Like, speaking of the quips, there was a lot of quips for like DC and shit in there.
Oh, I did like. At one point, while he's beating the shit out of Deadpool in the icebox before he gets his powers back, and he stabs and bits and everywhere, and he's getting quite dark, and he says, "Wow, that's really dark. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe?" Just a lot of nods and quips specifically about the studios in this one. I thought it was a bit of back and forth about DC, but a lot of jabs at Marvel Universe as well and the studios, which you'd expect, really.
Yeah, which is on the lines of like when he's got no powers, they're in the cell bullshitting. He's like, I have nothing. I have no powers. Like, I'm just riddled with cancer. Give me a fucking bow and arrow. I'm no better than Hawkeye.
I got nothing. Give me a bow and arrow. I'm Hawkeye. That's right.
Like, there's I don't think there was anything that sort of any jokes that really like pushed the envelope. I think they were digs, but they were very safe digs.
They were more digs between old friends, why you, why I, or that sort of thing.
So like a friend of the show, James Waters, he mentioned that he was surprised a lot of the things they said they got away with. I don't think there was anything that was too out of line, too edgy. I think everything was well safe.
Anything they referred to was common knowledge in a lot of cases, and or just suspected. I mean, in the first one, like I said, they threw the net as wide as they could. They fired shots in every direction. Most of them stuck, but because it did so well, they got away with it. In this one, there was probably a lot more monitoring going on. They had a new director. The studio would have been paying a little more attention to them this time. So they would have had to play it a little safer.
You understand we've been talking for an hour and a half, right?
Yes, we have.
So we might wrap things up there. But anyways, that is our a non-spoiler and spoiler discussion for Deadpool 2 Electric Boogaloo. As we said before, a fucking fantastic movie. The jokes were pretty much on point. I had a lot of good fun with it. And it sounds like for those of you that saw it in the chat, you had a great time as well.
I know I did. I'm definitely going to be seeing it again, probably in the cinema. I don't know if I'll wait for the DVD. I'd like to see that again. Yeah.
I think I might take the wife. The wife and I might do. We'll leave the son with the in-laws, and I think we should go see do a double feature. Get some Avengers in there. Get some Deadpool in there.
That sounds like a great idea.
Sounds amazing. I think I'm totally in. But for those of you that want to hear more of this guy, where can they find you?
They can find me on the airwaves. I do a radio show called The Mullet Show every Friday night here in Geelong, but you can also tune in to me live online through the website. If you want to get some more details, just pop onto Facebook, facebook.com/The Mullet Show. That's 2 L's, 1 T. I'm pretty easy to find. And you'll find some details there, how you can tune into the show live on air. Via the miracles of the interwebs.
Yeah,
There you go.
This has been Popcorn Spoilers, the movie show for the pop culturists, sort of. It's not. We kind of did popcorn spoilers. We kind of didn't. We just wanted to bullshit about a film, so we did, and it was fun. But as always, you can find all our social links are in the description below. Head over to the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/popculturists, where we bullshit about movies and stuff all the time, and of course the Discord as well. We do a lot of bullshitting about movies in the Discord. Link is in the description there. Yeah,
Apparently
pretty
it's
easy.
all about bullshitting, really.
Oh, we kind of just talk. We just talk at a lot of different locations. But anyways, until the next one, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Craig the Intern.
And cut.